Hello, and welcome to the CDGC Custom Scanner. This is meant as a part 2 of the CDGC Custom Metadata Model, and that section should be watched first before continuing here. Today we're going to be going over when custom scanners are used, the process of creating a custom scanner, how to fill out the CSV files generated from that custom scanner, and then going through the upload and common issues that we would expect to see during that process. First, custom scanners are going to be used most often when we don't have a native scanner for what you're looking for. This was gone over again in the last section, but it remains to be said that custom scanners can be used for anything that we have data for. The process of creating a custom scanner is going to start in the metadata command center of the cloud product. We can start by moving to customizations. And within customizations, go to custom catalog source types, and we can create a new one. For here, I'm going to create resource example. I can give a description, resource example for custom resource, and hit save. And we've saved our source type. Before we get to running this though, we should go to customizations, go to our metadata models where we had created our metadata before, and we're going to download the template for the metadata. Down here in the last section, I had created a resource example metadata model. I'll search for it, custom.resourceExample, and then I'll hit download. This is going to generate this zip file. And when we navigate to this zip file, it's going to have the classes that we had created before here as CSVs. We had created a custom table, schema, and column distribution, and it's also going to have a links.csv file. Every class that we filled out should be created and filled in here before we actually load the resource. Here in the custom schema, we're going to have a few things that are created as the core resources. The only things that are going to be absolutely necessary, however, are the external ID and the core.name. For the external ID, this can be given as anything. For our purposes, I'm going to call this RE for resource example underscore S for schema, and then give it the name schema. Easy enough. We will save. We can move on to the custom table. So here, for the external ID, we'll be giving the same, except we're going to give RE underscore S, the path of the schema, and then since this is the subobject, its own external ID. Here, we'll call this RET1 for table 1. And then we can give it a name, table 1, and then we'll also create a second table and call that table 2. Save and move on. And finally, we've made it to the column. We'll be doing the exact same thing, as you'll see shortly. And I've skipped ahead to give us the same external ID foundation, as well as calling these column 1, column 2. You can note that the name can be the same here and here, as long as the external ID is separate for both of these resources. Here we're referencing table 1, here we're referencing table 2. And here I've gone ahead and created the links.csv file, skipped ahead to me filling it out. We're going to start with linking our highest level object to the resource itself with the association core.parentChild. This is always going to be the same. From here, we're moving by source type. So this is schema to table, and we're going to be using custom.resourceExample.schema to table. This is the file. This was defined in the resource example metadata model. And for an example of what that looked like, we have here schema to table. So what we're going to be giving it as is the package name and then the name of the association. We can also see down here that we have table to column. And here, in that same way, we're going to have custom.resourceExample.table to column for when we're associating table to column. So we can save all of this, zip it, and then run our custom resource. Back in the metadata command center, we can create a new catalog source, moving down to our resource example. Create. We can give it a name, resource example testing. Our metadata source type will stay as CSV. We're uploading directly the zip file that we just created. And we can hit next. We'll retain the metadata change option, save. And once we saved, we can run. Now, while that will get you to run, it should be noted while we have the chance that during the last session, we looked over the custom attributes. These are going to appear here in this example, custom column. We assigned data type and length as custom class attributes. And to show, we can see the same here, that our class name, resource example, custom column, and attribute name, length, are provided both here and here for length and data type, so that when we move back to the we can see both of those represented here. While we didn't do that for the example, just know that those are present and those can be configured based on your need. In summary, the custom scanner can be used to generate any resource that you already have the metadata for. The scanner must be filled out in the style of the example given, where we have our external ID and name filled out, and most importantly, that our links.csv file is filled out with every association made. And further information can be found in the same document as before. We'd love to hear more from you at either of these links, and thank you for your time.